Hi, everybody. Welcome back to What the Flock. Still sort of on vacation. So, good news, bad news, and now for all of you, no news. I am still in Canada, right, Mum?
Absolutely. Here he is.
This is my mum, Diane, and she
Hello.
is here because I am still in Canada and will be for a little while longer. There was a big flight snafu that would have left me stranded for a simply unacceptable amount of time. And so instead, I've decided to rebook and I'll be working from here for the next couple of weeks, which gives me some more time to spend with you, Mum.
I'm glad. Thanks.
So, my lovely mother has just had a birthday, and she has been busy as always, because it turns out that you can get busier in retirement even if you're my mother. So, Mum,
Yes.
what has been going on with you and your knitting? Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what's happening?
Well, I'm so grateful that Ethan is here because my knitting requires a lot of guidance. And I do so enjoy all the podcasts, especially with Christine. Shout out to you, Christine. I love you. I am not a very great knitter. I want to be, but I'm not. So I'm grateful that Ethan has a lot of patience and guides me along. So
I can't believe that this is an actual thing. I have gotten more patient over the years. I swear.
Thankfully.
I swear, everyone.
I start out by knitting something, so I want Troy to know that he was an inspiration to me.
So for those of you who aren't familiar, Troy is my flatmate, essentially, more than that, and one of my very best friends, and also a member of our Wednesday night knit night. And Mum met Troy several times now when she's been over to visit. And so you decided you were seduced. This is what happens to people. You get seduced by someone else's project. So you got seduced by Troy's project.
I
Mother.
did, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Do you remember what this is called?
Absolutely not.
Are you? Oh, okay.
I'm calling it something on my own. I now call it Troy's illusion to me.
Okay, so this is for everyone else. If you're trying to find this pattern on Ravelry or on her own website, this is Andrea Mowry's Traveler Cowl. So she has an entire series of patterns that are named Traveler. There's, if you know what, you name it, she's probably made it. She's very good at adapting a stitch pattern, including the Traveler Shell, which I think is quite fetching. This particular one was knit using Spin Cycle Dream State in the colorway Ghost Ranch. And it is a medium. So there are 3 sizes in the pattern, and this one is a medium, and it took less than 2 full skeins to do that.
Good thing you didn't say how long it took, because I was corresponding with Ethan back and forth for, several months on how this was to look. And I actually even went on YouTube. Thank you, Mary. I did do that. Great little innuendo to pump into my brain. Still had no luck. When Ethan came home, I was, of course, still struggling, and thankfully he finished it. Yes, so not me, but he did, and I'm thrilled with it.
We got it done.
I have to say he's giving me more credit than I deserve. He actually brought it home for me. And Troy...
It's the longest 2 days of my life.
Yes, and you know what, though, Troy... you give yourself a little more credit, friend, because it wasn't easy, and I did find out from several comments on the YouTube that, in fact, it is difficult to sort of understand some of the way she writes some of her patterns for a new beginner.
I have to say, it's a combination of factors, I think, with this particular project, if you don't mind me saying, Mum, that makes it a little more challenging. One of the things is direction of knitting isn't necessarily apparent from the finished object. So when we look at this guy, the starting place is here at this back corner, and you knit down this way and increase down this way simultaneously to begin making the shape. It's just not as intuitive as it may seem to make this shape that way, and also the stitch pattern is not evenly divided across rows and increases in a way that is a smaller repeat. I think it's about 12 rows total for the repeat.
Yes.
Or something like that, 12 to 10. And then when you throw in the increases and the sections, it's Not that it's hard, it's just tricky, and reading it and following the pattern, I would say, is quite a high-level challenge with this particular project. But it is really beautiful once it's done. And once you get into the rhythm of it, it makes a lot more sense. It's just hard to find the rhythm, I found, when I was knitting it. But I really quite liked it in the end. It's very beautiful when it's done, as usual with
the other
Andrea's
thing is the
patterns.
pattern was pretty easy to understand, but it was the conflict of where the starting was and the angle that it was on that I just couldn't perceive is actually going to work out to be in this shape, no matter how it was to be put together at the end. So, yes.
Schematics don't always help.
No, and in this particular case, I may have sort of bitten off just a little more than I could have chewed at the time, but I'm very grateful for it. And in actuality, I only had about this much to finish. And frankly, right to the end, I could not see the fact that it was coming out to be in the shape that it now looks like. Also, I have done some things in knitting in the round, and my age really kind of denotes for this part of Canada, perhaps. I don't care for that as much as flat knitting. So I thought I was, I thought, well, for me.
That's an allegation. I mean, I also don't care for flat knitting, everyone, and I am still full of the blush of youth.
Just so you know, he was the fella that said, you're going to love this knitting in the round. I'm with you, Christine.
In my defense,
Flat.
I thought it would go better than it did. Let's not revisit the flax sweater. So,
I thought I would bring this out only because...
this is a very old item that I knit a very long time ago.
It is. I'm very fortunate that I do have in my possession a lot of things which my son has made for me over the years. And in all fairness, I wear this almost every day when the weather allows me to wear that, which is pretty much all the time except right now.
Well,
right now in Canada, we have, as of today, actually, it is 30 degrees.
Beautiful.
Very unusual, and I blame Ethan for that because he likes the hot weather.
Oh, everyone who is watching from New Zealand who knows me and anyone who knows me anywhere knows that it is at least above 25 degrees because I am not wearing a sweater. And as a matter of fact, it must be above 28 degrees because I am wearing short sleeves.
He is so.
And believe it or not, shorts. A rarity because it has to be at least 30 degrees before you see my knees.
Actually, swimming attire because I have a pool in the backyard. So that is
which is
that
also
nice.
Shocking.
Anyways,
enjoyable though.
I don't know what it's called, but isn't it beautiful?
So that is Antarktis by Janina Kallio, and that is in a custom dyed Starry Night gobstopper of its day, but now called Gobsmack yarn, which was hand dyed by my friend Marit. So that is what that was. You may not remember, but one day you were in the shop right after Marit had brought in a delivery, and you picked up the original one of these cakes and went, oh, I would actually really like that. And then you, at the time, weren't knitting and said, well, I'd never do anything with it. And you put it back down. And I was at work that day, and I went back the next day, and it was gone. And it had sold online overnight. And so I asked Marit to make another one, and then I knit that for you for your birthday, I'm pretty sure, actually.
So grateful, and I love it.
This is in the era before the studio, guys. I blocked that on my bathroom floor. It was not glamorous. It was awful.
It worked, right?
It did.
So then when Ethan arrived, yes, he did come for my birthday, which was wonderful. He was kind enough to bring me some more wool that is just fabulous. The texture of it is wonderful. It's great to work with. I have no idea what it is. And furthermore, it's a simple pattern, which of course he modified for me, which I also have no idea what it's called. But the good thing is, he does know.
So this is one of my patterns. This is the one Skein garter triangle shawl. And this is really just a podcast about Christine, it turns out, because Christine has knit many a beautiful Antarktis. And she has also test knit this and is knitting another one, I believe, right now of one of these shawls. She's probably already finished it. Although Christine's will have eyelets in it, and my mom has gone for a pure garter stitch version just to kind of cut out some of the complexity there.
Well, and I also want you to know that I do watch every podcast and do try to participate. Last evening I was knitting along as we do in the evening, and I made a little boo-boo. Little tiny, and I thought, oh no, am I going to rip that back 4 or 5 rows? And then I said, I am going to Christine this, because you know what, no one will ever actually know. So Christine, you're famous now. I now refer to my fixing things up as I'm going to Christine this.
Well, there we go. And for those of you avidly watching and wondering what the yarn is that I gave my mother, that is a very rare beast. So it is a 100% merino fingering weight yarn, but it didn't come from New Zealand, it came from America. The wool is American merino, and it has been spun and dyed in the US. That yarn no longer exists and hasn't for several years. That is the second of 2 skeins of Brooklyn Tweed Peary in the colorway Humpback that I had in my possession. One of the rarest jewels of the knitting world now, as far as rarity of yarn goes and sheer enjoyment to work with. But it's important that when you have things like this, if you know you're not going to get around to them, to share it with people, because that way, I've already knit with Peary a bunch of times, I know what it feels like, and it means now that other people will know what it feels like, and I can actually talk about it. So if you have stuff like that in your stash, or if you do have a really great bottle of wine sitting around, open it or give it away, because sitting there and it not doing anything isn't helping anybody. But Mom, what do you have on the go after this? Do you have any plans for immediately after this?
I do, because you bought me some beautiful yarn.
I did indeed.
And
I brought you some Ritzy Boucle by the
Yes.
super talented Yarn Floozy, who we're going to be talking about again in a little bit, who is my lovely friend Katrine, and it is in the colorway Gothic Bouquet.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
I have it waiting inside. And I have been very present in watching Ethan knit vicariously through many jumpers, which you all know he's very involved and more than capable to do in a very short span. Well, the one that he actually made that I love, I am going to be using that pattern for it, because I think I can manage it, first of all. And second to that, it's just a beautiful design. And when Ethan had it on, it fit him exquisitely. The neck laid perfect. The yoke and the arm, all just, it looked just wonderful. So that's what I'm choosing to do. Although Ethan has given me the pattern, I did not come prepared to be able to tell you what that was, but thankfully.
So that is the Toile number 2, the Raglan, which is going to be coming out to the rest of you in the world this weekend, actually, which is very exciting.
Didn't let the cat out of the bag, did I?
You didn't at all, but we're going to show them the sample, and then we're going to take some photos of it tomorrow and get it published before the end of the weekend, which is going to be
Wonderful.
a super fun time, because there are other fun things happening this weekend at Get Flocked as well that we're going to tell you a little bit about at the very end. So we have a lot to share still, including some of the things that, now that I've been here for so long, I wish I had brought with me that I neglected to bring with me that I'm going to tell you about at the end, because some of these things are things I'm also going to be getting from my mother, because once you start using them all the time, you realize that you can't actually live or knit without these items, and I'm going to talk about those at the very end. But next, after a little interstitial moment, I'm going to come back to tell you all about what I've been working on. We are back.
Here we are.
Now, every year I try to set an intention for what I'm going to do for the year. And I really want to try to focus on wonder and awe over the course of this year. And I am not going to pretend. There have been some ups and downs, oh my, this year. But coming back here and taking some time to recover from what I will refer to as extreme burnout, friends.
Exhaustion.
And exhaustion. Stay away from it. It's not a good time. Has been remarkable for recovering my sense of wonder and awe. If you are sitting at home and you are feeling as burnt out as I seemed in that last vacation episode of this podcast, I urge you to please, no matter what else is going on in your life, get outside into some nature. You will feel better. there is no balm for the soul like walking outside on our Mother Earth, and nothing will make you feel better than that. So with that little PSA aside, I am pleased to say that a sense of wonder and awe and feeling way less tired has also rekindled my knitting mojo for sure.
Oh boy.
So, from least completed to most completed, I guess, is a fun way to play this. So at the moment, I am working on a conceptual sample for a basic Toile style drop shoulder cardigan. Now, this is using a very familiar striping pattern in our knitting community that was definitely popularized by Elton by Joji Locatelli. So if you are a top-down style knitter and you love a stripe and you love using mohair and you do not want to wait for a seamed version of a fingering weight based pattern that is not going to be presented like this, then you should rush out right now and buy one of the Elton variations by Joji Locatelli because they are wonderful. I have knit one, I gave it to my sister, but as my shoulders have gotten bigger, I really needed to change the complete structure of how this garment functions, but I wanted to have one like it in my wardrobe. And I used to have this brown Lacoste sweater that I wore constantly for years and years and years until I outgrew it viciously. And it had a really similar shape to what I'm building right now, this exaggerated drop shoulder with a very narrow band. So I'm actually going to reknit this in some cashmere and silk for myself because this isn't luxurious enough.
Well, and the banding down here is very similar to that Lacoste shirt as well. So, not so thick, just nice enough, enough to give it a little singe.
I'm definitely coming in for a little bit of that feeling with that cardigan overall, and I just wanted, the yarn that I had with me was this beautiful silk mohair from Yarn Floozy, which is hand dyed, although this is very striking in a commercially dyed yarn as well. And some of the Sage, the single ply silk mohair. I will say I do think everyone's single ply yarns are best knit flat, not in the round. So if you are going to be using a single ply yarn for your Elton, there is the cardigan, which is knit entirely flat, and there is also a kind of jacket cardigan version as well. So do think about that if that's what you're doing yarn wise. And so I am just chipping away, at the cast on for the front, because I'm going to be making this a cardigan. Just a simple, high, round neck.
It is so soft.
With a drop shoulder.
It is so succulent.
It's silk
wonderful.
Mohair and silk merino together. You really can't beat it. It is a little, it's not hard to knit, but when you're in this sections with just the silk mohair, because it is just a single strand, you do have to pay attention. The needles can get caught more easily and things can slip off a little more quickly just because of how fine it is. But that is going to whiz right along now that the major piece is finished, and I cannot wait. I guess the next least completed thing happened because of a unfortunate color substitution situation.
It's amazing that one very small ball of yarn can actually change the whole picture of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it really, really can. So for those of you who have been with me for a little while, you may be familiar with my several attempts to knit my way through a Marie Wallen colorwork cardigan. It has been a difficult journey, full of a lot of different strange challenges, but I was determined while I was here to buy myself a sweater quantity of yarn to knit myself a reward because I've been working very hard over the last few years. And I went down to a shop owned by some really lovely people called the Knitting Loft here in Toronto this time on this visit. And I went in, they're so lovely. And I went in intending to buy a sweater quantity of Emiak medium. And I did something that drives me personally batty when customers do it. And I have to apologize to everyone. And
He did it.
Very good about it in the shop and just immediately pivoted and bought something else, which is easy to do when you're Ethan, but hard to do when you're everyone else. So the good news is I got something amazing. The bad news is I didn't check what a yarn store had before I went in. I went in with one expectation and then had to pivot, but the pivot was quick and easy. The only issue was they were missing one color, and I thought to myself, it won't make that much of a difference, and
it did.
It did, and I couldn't live with it, so this is paused at the moment, but I'm going to be frantically knitting this when I get home because I have to teach a class all about this exact style of knitting, and isn't that helpful for everyone? And the good news is, this extra color is going to live on because I've already done the cast on in it, and I'm not redoing that, so it's going to be the cast on edge in all of these pieces, which is lovely, and then the other color will just be in the piece, which is going to be great. So this is the start of a Troutbeck by
Ta-da!
Marie Wallen. So this is the front. I'm about halfway through the first repeat of the chart. I actually knit all of this in less than a day, if I'm being honest. It's very easy to knit a difficult charted pattern, Mother.
No, it's not.
When you're using the yarn that has the exact names on it as the chart. And I really wish it didn't make such a difference.
Swayed them entirely. That was the end.
It was shocking how much easier it made the process. And also, the fact is, I bought the exact colors that go into the kit. So I'm using them in the exact order as written. So I actually know what it's supposed to look like, which is helpful. And I'm just going to say this now, even though I try to tempt people into Marie Wallen jumpers and other things all the time. If you are someone who struggles with substituting for color work and you really want to do a complicated piece of color work and deeply enjoy it, buy one of these kits. They're worth it.
Yeah.
They are not worth it, I think, for many, many different knitters. Personally, after using it once, I know now exactly how to substitute, which I think is fascinating and fun. And I am excited to knit her patterns in other yarns. So I do also think it's a great entry point. If you want to get into complicated Fair Isle and you're not sure where to start or how to make those choices, build your skills on other things, doing color work and things like that, save up and buy one of her kits. So this is Troutbeck by Marie Wallen in the original colors with a Cornuncle cast on. It comes in these adorable 25-gram balls.
Yes, but you require how many of those?
You require a lot of them.
A lot of them.
I will not pretend these are not an inexpensive investment.
No.
I will say I did get what I felt like was a great deal, and I love it. And I am thrilled. So thank you to my friends at the Knitting Loft for helping me make this knitting dream come true the way I get to help other people's knitting dreams come true all the time. And I can't wait to finish this and wear it all the time.
I must just interject there for a second because I'm not certain when Ethan is in New Zealand if he carries knitting where he goes most of the time.
Yes, almost all the time.
So he has always done that here as well. And we were out having a coffee. And Ethan was sitting and knitting, and random people usually do come over when they see him knitting because it's such beautiful wool and it's such beautiful patterns. But this particular day, the lady was mesmerized on how he could carry so many of the yarns on his fingers and knit so quickly. And frankly, he was doing it in an area where she really couldn't see that. And she was quite an accomplished knitter. And
I think she was a returning beginner, actually. So
oh,
she had.
Oh, it was the other lady for the other sweater then. Well, regardless, you know, as I say to everybody, when they usually know that we're mother and son, I usually start off by saying, well, no, I know you have questions, but no, he's always been like this. And no, I cannot knit like him. And frankly, I can toot my horn a little tiny bit. I don't know of many who can. My grandmother would be extraordinarily proud of him, as that's where he learned.
That is true. And I do love to knit. So the good news is, everyone, we are running a knit along for this starting. We're supposed to start a week ago, but I'm not in the country, so it's going to have to start and run differently. I'm sorry, everyone. Flights change. But I finished my crosshatch.
He did.
It's great. I'm
had a little
thrilled.
bit of a song and dance here when he did.
It took me about a week. I'm really glad because during travel in the Melbourne security line, an unfortunate incident happened, and my black and white crosshatch is destroyed forever by a conveyor belt. Yeah. It was not great, but I got over it because I had like way more than that, like 34 hours of travel left to go. So we had to move on quickly. Lots to do.
And he did.
So Crosshatch is done. That is in Shelter, in Almanac, and Sweatshirt. Loft in Almanac, and Shelter and Sweatshirt. And what my mom is going to be making next is a Toile number 3. This is actually one of 2 jumpers that I have cast on and knit while I was here.
Sorry, just so that you see how beautiful it is.
I knit this using Arwetta in the color 148, which I think is deep olive, and using silk mohair from Issayer in the color 68, held together, which makes and the ends are not woven out of the way, this sublime creation in front of you. As you guys may have heard from my ice blue one in Arwetta, ice blue and ice blue, I am a huge fan of Arwetta and silk mohair held together. It is a pretty incomparable fabric, and I will say, even though I'm knitting with beautiful hand-dyed silk mohair that has its own unique characteristics, the Issayer silk mohair owns my needles and my heart. I love it. While it may not always have quite the incredible, a ginormous monarch butterfly just flew through.
Very big.
Like the size of a side plate.
Yeah, that is ginormous.
That was humongous. Oh, it's by the fire pit still.
I live in the country a little bit, so we get to see some of these oddities more than others.
Yes, and so this is Toile number 2, which is going to be coming out to you guys this weekend, pending successful photos. So that is a wrap-up of what I'm knitting, and I have knit a new pattern as well that's going to be coming out later in the fall when the yarn that I made it in is released as well. I think it's actually my best pattern that I've ever made.
I wish you could show it,
yeah,
but it cannot.
It is really quite beautiful. It's also kind of great to not have to show it today because it is cabled. So no matter how you knit a cabled garment, it is warm. So that's the only hint. It's a garment pattern and it's cabled. It's coming out, I think, in 9 sizes with my traditional sleeve calculator. So it's a drop shoulder because I do not believe in writing specific sleeve, although this one does have a plot twist. This sleeve calculator for the new pattern does have a plot twist where there are 3 cast-on sizes and you have to pick. You don't get a choice. It's the way that it works. Sorry in advance. I'm not sorry. I wrote the pattern. So we're going to come right back to talk to you all about what is happening at the shop this weekend and to tell you my list of travel regrets as far as what redesign project items I brought and what I didn't bring. I'll be right back. So, this weekend at Get Flocked, in honor of me being stranded in Canada, we are having a 15% off sale because I'm not there and I don't have to pack anything. I'm not being funny. So, the good news is, there is a wonderful 15% discount this entire weekend at Get Flocked. So nice. That is on everything across store-wide except for our consignment products. They will be excluded. It will be an automatic discount that will be applied. I don't believe you'll have to put in a code. But this is a perfect opportunity for us to mention that we do not normally do sales like this. This is going to be our biggest and only one like this for the year. So please get in for what you want early. I would like to especially mention 2 or 3 categories before we move on to talk about the other category that we're going to focus on. One big thing to think about is needle sets that we have in stock and tools and things. So we have a good selection of ChowGoo Swifts in stock at the moment, and it is the last production run of them. They will not be manufactured in future, so please do feel free to take advantage of savings on that.
Am I getting a set?
Well, you already have one of the Swifts,
okay.
Mom. So we'll get to the many things that if I was in my mother's shoes, which I sort of am, and I've already made a digital shopping list and shared it with everybody at the shop so that they can deal with this before I get back. A list of all the things that you need that you don't have, and a list of all the things that I didn't bring with me that I am regretting.
Yeah, there was a little cursing.
There's been some frustration.
Yeah, there was.
It turns out that I lead a pretty frictionless life overall, especially when it comes to knitting, in that the slightest inconvenience is now cause for a monumental temper tantrum. So, without further ado, this 15% off sale applies to everything, which I will draw your special attention to the Ashford section of our website. That means that things that we don't have yet in stock are things you can get at a discount. So please do consider ordering those from us, as Ashford's prices have had to increase due to a variety of different factors in New Zealand over time. So do keep that in mind, because one thing that I do wish I had here was my spinning wheel. I love to spin in my downtime, and I have knit a lot while I've been here, which has been great, but it would really have been great to have my spinning wheel here to the point where I might get an additional one and bring it with me for next year, because I love to spin, and it's a great way to spend time when you want to talk and be present with people, but you still want your hands to be busy. So spinning is definitely something I wish that I had brought with me. And if you want to get into spinning or weaving or anything else, do check out the Ashford section. Now, Mom, you don't need anything from that section, because I don't think I think we're going to still work on knitting before we introduce weaving. There's a shuttle involved, and like you have to beat it, and like you have to set. Yep. So we're gonna stick with the knitting for a bit, everyone. Controversial, and from there, though, you may also want to consider something that you don't quite need. We just have to do an inventory and not show the people the situation. Our needle sets will also be included in this discount this weekend. So we do not normally put our tools and needles on sale, but they are included in this sale. So do jump in on that. Now, I personally am a fan, honestly, of having both a ChowGoo needle set and a Knit Pro needle set. I like to have Knit Pro longs and shorts and ChowGoo longs. It turns out all in metal. I use them for different projects for different reasons at different times. It is a very granular set of decision making, and some of it just has to do with how the yarn feels, and I know what needles it'll feel best on to work with. So that's definitely an experiential thing. I think as well, it's a personal thing, and that will be different for everyone. But as you knit more, you will discover that different needle materials are better for different jobs. It's just a
And
fact.
they fit better in your hand.
They do, yeah. Different styles, different sizes, different brands. They all have different advantages for different projects and how you sit and what you're doing. Now, Mom, I will say there are many things in your general knitting kit that are included in this sale that I think are wildly missing from your life, which feels like torture and insanity to me. So
well, when you sit and watch me, you get frustrated because, well, I've gone from a paper plastic bag to a cloth bag to this wonderful
yes, a beautiful
container.
redesign Project 32. However, it is meant to be utilized flopped completely open. And if you meet my mother's awful dog, Dolly, she's delightful in many ways, but she is just awful. You will understand that my mother could not possibly leave that sitting on the floor open like that. It just won't work. But the good news is, Mother, redesigned makes a bucket, a yarn bucket.
Like,
yeah.
like a
No,
bucket?
like a bucket.
Oh.
Like a bucket. And I have one because I love it. And they
Probably
make now
more.
a new oval bucket. I only have one right now, I think. I'm not great at inventory of stuff like
Probably
that.
more than one.
I mean, who's counting? But they now make an oval bucket as well that looks like one of those older magazine things that used to sit
yeah,
beside
right,
chairs,
yeah.
but it's wide and has pockets for knitting. So I think something like that as an additional project thing, because what people don't consider is that you shouldn't have to be inconvenienced for even 10 seconds. It's crazy. It's 2025. There has to be some sort of benefit to this nightmare. And the benefit is definitely redesign project for your knitting things.
I kind of like that.
Yes. So one of the other things that
Haven't
my
seen
mother
it.
doesn't have is a Project 36 to store all of her
very
tools
nice.
in. Now, she has a Project 32, which has a beautiful removable tool pouch.
I didn't know that.
Yep,
Oh,
it snaps right out.
Snaps right out.
The Project 32 is also a great option for yarn storage and travel. Don't worry. It also doubles as an excellent toiletry bag if you need it. But the Project 36 is great. I keep all of my fountain pens and other writing utensils fountain pens and chisel tip pencils because it's like 1854 up in here in
Not
one
here.
section.
He means up here.
If you want to get back to writing well, get a fountain pen. And in this side, lots of lip balm. Another thing that you don't have is many pairs of sharp nose scissors. These are also included in the sale on our website this weekend, so do get after those small accessories and tools. Discounts add up big on those. A tape measure, which should be in every single knitting bag that you own, and every Project 36 that you own. And of course, Lanolips lip balm. My current, and I spend many years on the hunt for the perfect lip balm. And then they do these cursed things where they make a perfect lip balm for many years, and then what do? They change the way that it's
Change it.
packaged.
Yeah, doesn't like that.
I'm looking at you, EOS. That was a nightmare.
Yeah. He may have
Ruined.
had 50 or 60 of those,
I used them all up.
but he had them.
And then,
Did you get rid of the little container when it was empty?
yes, you recycle them. That was the whole
I know
point.
that, but he doesn't like to part with things.
I've changed. I throw out yarn now. You'd be shocked. I do all the time. People hate it. It's so funny. This is a redesign Project 36, and everyone needs one or two,
I'd like
or in my
one
case,
or two.
3. I think maybe even 4 now. I haven't been counting. The other thing, Mother, that you don't have, and when I saw the way she had her needles stored, I If I had known why no, don't show people. Oh my God. This is like a hoarder's episode. What's about to happen?
I actually took 7 or 8 of them out, Ethan, out of that little thing. I had to because I knew you were coming, but but I love
so
these needles.
Yes.
I know he stresses.
But she had them stored
Sometimes
in a Mindy
I have to go
sleeve.
into another room.
She had them stored in a. Okay. Anyway, the good news is.
I didn't know. I mean, he's there. He's not here, so I can hide
So the good
things
news
from
is,
him.
I have already ordered you one of these, a Project 14 in wood
That
smoke.
is actually fabulous because
This
I
is
noticed
fabulous.
that you could also, if you had paper and you had your pattern on it.
Oh no, we'll
you
get
could-
no. Those are coming as well. Don't. That's a separate other. God, no, you don't put the pattern in here. This is just restoring the needles and tools. The pattern is going to have its own separate folder with a magnetic backing.
Well, as you know, I
Those
keep it in
are
my
coming. They may not be on
journal.
the website yet, but if they are, you should definitely get one because I'm going to get a couple.
This
is a Project 14. We have several in stock in different colors, and I still think this is one of the greatest things that I have ever purchased as a knitting tool.
Wow.
So I use this every single day.
Does Christine have one?
I think so.
She's my inspiration.
I try to make sure everybody gets one. I have 2, and I'm getting a 3rd one for here.
He means for me.
No, this one for you. I already have one in wood smoke. That's why I didn't bring it, because then we would have had a confusion. We can't have the same color in the same country. That would be chaos for me, personally. So this is by far the Cadillac of needle cases. There is not one better that I have ever come across. It has 2 full sections, so you can fit your longs and your shorts or your woods and your metals all in here. It has under flap storage in both of those if you, I guess, want to fold up a pattern and stick it in there instead of getting a special receptacle just for the pattern. No, don't put it there. It'll crease from the needles. That's crazy. It has 3 storage spots for your tapestry needles. Then it has 2 sets of spaces. Now, I store my fixed tip needles in this section, and then I store my cables in this section with my connector tools and everything else in this pouch, and my needle gauge, which is a limited edition one from Stephen and Penelope, that fits right into this one.
I have to say, this is beautiful. The other thing I like about it is it's quite supple. It's not rigid.
It is a supple leather.
And you can see that you've used it a great deal. And you typically, Ethan never tells you about things unless they really do work.
I really think that there is a lot of stuff out there that doesn't offer a lot of value in knitting. Expensive blocking boards, not worth it. Really complicated ways of knitting a sweater, not worth it. Just make a drop shoulder and seam it. 90%, if you go into your closets right now and pick out your favorite shirt, I guarantee you there is a 90% chance it is a drop shoulder.
I
almost
agree.
all t-shirts are drop shoulders, almost all sweatshirts are drop shoulders, almost all commercial knitwear is a drop shoulder. People love a drop shoulder. Don't fight it. They're easy to make, they're easy to fit, they're easy to wear. But a Project 14, if you are a interchangeable needle user, or a Project 7 if you are a fixed needle user, is an absolute must. So, Mother, we have covered the bucket, which you absolutely need, because this is chaos, that your yarn is just like living.
I sense it might be coming to me on Christmas Day.
Maybe other things on Christmas. I mean, this is just this feels like intervening in like some sort of like horrifying situation. This must be what it's like to be a social worker. Like, I feel like a knitting social worker. Like, it's okay, dear, don't worry, we'll be able to get you the supplies
I cluster it all up
that
like
you
this
need.
in the ball, and I go over to him going, can you just look at this for a second?
So the good news is, everyone, if you are a mother, you definitely need all the knitting supplies, and you deserve them. And if you have a mother and you're watching this, she deserves all the knitting supplies if she's a knitter. Be like me. Solve the problem. Because there's a 15% discount on all the redesign this weekend. And I have to admit, honestly, I have owned a lot of knitting bags over the years. It started out with an absolute refusal to buy them, and then a pretty intense obsession.
Like Harry Potter.
Yes, a pretty intense obsession with Fringe Supply Co., which I still miss to this day, but my favorite knitting bags by far are these redesigned Project 1s. The only other thing I have to say is this little one here, which I think is a Project 3, has turned out to be the savior workhorse of this trip. It has a rigid flat bottom, so you can take it everywhere. It has more than enough space to fit most of a sweater quantity of yarn in it, plus the project.
Maybe people just have a quick look at that, because That's something.
I brought this one as well with me at Christmas, and it was a really great project bag to have. But I will
Zip it up and away you
say,
go.
I cannot live without a Project 10 and a Project 9. It is unbearable. So if you are still wondering what my top recommendations are, my absolute essentials for the redesign project, a 14 is an absolute essential. A Project 9 and a 10, you may want to pick between them. They're two different sizes, but one of them is an absolute essential. And while it may seem outlandish, the Project 36 is a total game changer for your storage needs. You will never lose a tool again because you actually enjoy opening and closing it, so you'll put it away. Plus, it's pretty. And I think we can all admit,
This is perfect for packing.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
seriously,
that is
this
by
goes
far-
in my backpack. It goes.
that is the best
Easy to
travel
do.
one by far. The 32, and it has a larger cousin, which I want to say is a 36. I'm wrong. That's a 36. It has a larger cousin as well that's bigger. Are amazing for travel and packing. So get amongst the redesign, get amongst the Ashford, and do look out for those needle sets and Chowgu other tools because they are going to blitz out the door fast. Thank you so much for watching. We hope all of you have a great day, and we will see you from here again next week, maybe with cocktails. Who knows? Okay, bye.
Bye.